Cześć wszystkim, jesteśmy znów na ogromnym i głośnym PG, dlatego troszeczkę się usunęliśmy ze stoiska. A z nami są panowie z THQ Nordic, Amadeusz,
Hello.
Harry
Hello.
i Florian.
Hello.
Pogadamy chwilę z panami z THQ Nordic właśnie o grach, które nam tutaj przywieźli i skupimy się oczywiście raczej na Elexie, do którego oczekiwania są ogromne. Okay, so how do you like the Poznań Game Arena, the audience here, the people, and the loudness, because it's really loud here?
Yeah, we really like it. It's great to be here. It's cool that you have so many players here and that the Polish players are very dedicated. You know, if they are getting interested by a game, they totally fall into love with it. That's really great. And what we have seen, we were very surprised that basically everybody gets the game in a second. Even if they are a bit more complicated, like Spellforce 3 is like a strategy game, everybody exactly knows what to do, what keys to press. That's really helpful, so we do not have to explain anything to the players, they just know how to do it.
Yeah, you brought 6 games with you, right? So which one has the biggest audience?
The biggest audience is definitely with the guys from Elex, which is like the new game from the guys who made Gothica and Risen, so it's very popular and they have a lot of fans here as well.
Yeah.
Will Elex live up to the legend of Gothic?
We really hope so, because a lot of fans came here and said, "Oh, Gothic is so great," and so you feel honored that they came here and they want to sign their games, and it was really an honor for me to meet these people and to get their feedback while they are playing Elex. So we do our best and to achieve that we can bring back the Gothic atmosphere.
Yeah, because in Poland, Gothic is like a really big game. Polish people love the saga. Like, trust me, they love the saga. I'm quite impressed about Elex as well, because the idea behind the game, it's not really easy, because it's fantasy and it's post-apo, right? So can you tell us more about the idea of Elex? Like, what's behind it?
Yeah. So with Elex, we want to combine two settings, like the science fantasy and the fantasy part in a post-apocalyptic universe, and it's a big challenge for us, but it's also has great advantages. For example, we can use new words, we can create new things, but with the old vibe. So we can still have the Gothic atmosphere, but also some new elements, and we really love to bring some new ideas in our games, because always doing the same thing might get boring, but with Elex we have a lot of advantages for us.
Is there something that's like totally different from other RPG games beside the universe? Because it's really something it's quite new, like the fantasy and sci-fi. So is there something that's like that will be the feature of Elex, let's say?
I think one of the big things of Elex, or basically of all our role-playing games, are like our style of open world.
Yeah.
Because most open worlds are you have a lot of stuff to do, but it's it's not really connected to the story. Almost all of our stuff is connected to the main plot or to the side quest. So you really have the feeling of a living, breathing open world where if I do stuff, the people react to it, the story reacts to it, and everything seems kind of alive. So I think that's one of our great things that sets us up from other.
So you're saying that the world in Elex will live with the player, right? So if I will do something in the world in Elex, I will see the change, right? Like for example, my choices and the quest lines, as it will be implemented in the world, right?
Yeah, of course. We have like of course big changes, like in the main plot where you can choose different endings and stuff, but we have also, like in every side quests, a lot of choices. For example, you can kill almost, like, I think 90% of all our NPCs are actually killable. I can kill them if I want to, and the quests they might have will change after that. They will see, oh, that NPC is dead, that quest has to be, you get new different dialogues and stuff like that.
What about the character progression? Like, will we have a lot of equipment to find, a lot of skills to develop?
Yeah, of course. You can like in Gothic, is this you gain experience if you make quests or if you kill NPCs. Also NPCs.
Let's not kill all NPCs.
Enemies. I want to say enemies, and then you get learning points, like in Gothic. And then you can go to teachers and spend that learning points for new perks. We have like since 6 different skill trees. 3 of them are exclusive to a faction, so I have to join a faction to unlock those skill trees and stuff like that. So we have a lot to, like crafting, you can make your weapons better, you can make your armors and stuff like that.
Through potions, alchemy, traditional, yeah.
Craft ammunition, yeah.
We can say that Elex is pretty much the biggest spiritual successor to Gothic, right? Like the...
I would say so, yeah.
Yeah. We brought back a lot of features that were, for example, missing in the Risen series. And we asked ourselves, okay, what were the features people really liked in the Gothic series? And so we said, okay, we should bring them back, and we did.
Good. That's really good to hear. Okay, there's one game that's really brought my attention as well, and it's Battle Chasers. So can you tell us more about Battle Chasers? Because we don't know a lot about it, I guess. So.
Well, basically Battle Chasers start as a comic series done by a guy called Joe Madureira. And he's also the art director of the Darksiders series, so maybe you find his style familiar. And I think it's mostly because of the iconic style that his games are standing out. So after the Darksiders studio was closed, he and some friends made a little studio called Airship Syndicate, and they are now making the Battle Chasers Night Wars game. And it's basically tied around or tailored around the story of the Battle Chasers comics, which has many fans in the US, for example. And yeah. The game is kind of a mix between a little dungeon crawler, like it looks like a little Diablo when it started. You go around with a person, you have traps to avoid, but the first time you encounter your enemies, the game will stop and put you into a turn-based combat. Yeah. So you have a maximum of 3 characters in your group, and you're fighting up to 3 opponents or 1 big boss something, and then you're fighting turn-based, and it really reminds of the classical JRPGs, the Japanese RPG.
Yeah, I played it, and it feels exactly like the old JRPGs. Like there's no overly complex battle system. It's just, it's turn-based, right? Yeah. With quite a lot of skills on the characters and amazing animations. And what about the character progression? And will we find like treasures on our way? And maybe some secrets, like in, for example, Diablo or other JRPGs.
Yes, there are many secrets and many treasures that you can find. Mostly after combat, or if you explore in the dungeons are made randomly. So every time you enter a dungeon, it's a new one. You can find a lot of crafting materials. So, and you have to do crafting on certain crafting stations, and the stations they are also in the dungeons, so you have to find them first, and sometimes we are really mean, so we hide the best crafting stations behind very hard to defeat bosses. Okay. So you first have to defeat a boss, and you have to loot a special piece of whatever you do need for crafting, and then you can make better weapons, better armor, etc., for all of your characters. You have just 3 characters in your group all the time, but there is a total of 6 characters that you can choose from. So you can also change what they are doing, and their roles in the combat are very important. So if you have the tank, he should really be the tank. I mean, he can just do normal attacks, of course, yeah. But if he does not fulfill his tank duties, like shielding the other people or taunting the enemy that they attack him, you're probably going to lose if the battles are getting harder. And it's the same for the healer. If he does not heal, well, yeah, you can't win the game, basically.
I saw in the game when I was playing it, there was a system that is powering you up your character. The more they hit someone, the more they use their skills. What would be the use of it? The
burst thing? Yeah, it's like when they get damage or when they do damage, they fulfill a burst meter, and this gives you access to very strong abilities. So once if you have the marks at 100, 200, and 300 of those burst points, and then you can unleash very strong powers. For example, there's Gully, who's our tank. She's our tank. It's a little girl used as a tank usually, and she can put a big boulder from the ground and throw it at the enemy, and he will get stunned. So they have very cool side effects to them as well, those skills, and they can be decisive in the middle of a combat.
I have one last question. I know you probably won't be able to answer it, but I really have to ask. Will we see the third horseman?
The third horseman? I don't know. No, it is. I mean, we have bought the Darksiders IP some years ago. We have made a remaster of the second Darksiders, and we have now presenting here a remaster of the first Darksiders, which is the War Master edition, which will be out in November, end of November. And yeah, well, we still have the IP. I have no idea.
And people,
so maybe
people love it. People love it.
I can't say anything, but well, we can't do a remaster of the remaster again, right? So.
That's a good point, and I think that's enough. And thank you.
All I can say.
Thank you very much, really. Thank you very much. Okay, Florian, tell us about the dwarves.
The Dwarves is a fantasy RPG. Our two main goals before we went into production were the first thing: how can we make large-scale combats? You know, a very big combats with only a few heroes against many enemies. And for that we came up with what we call the crowd combat system. So you have up to 4 heroes in your group that you are controlling at once. So it's like a real-time combat, but you can pause them all the time, like hitting the spacebar, as you know from games like, for example, Baldur's Gate or Dragon Age. Yeah. And then you have a huge number of enemies, so there can be literally hundreds of orcs, for example, fighting against you, and you have to find a way with your few heroes to defeat those large armies. For that you can also use some physics, because everything is based on a physics engine. So if you push an orc, for example, he falls back to another orc, and this one might fall off a cliff or a bridge or something. So if you use this for your advantage, you can be very effective in the combat. And the second most important thing is that we wanted to tell a good story. Good for us, the Dwarves is based on a German book, also called The Dwarves. It's a fantasy series which is rather popular in Germany, done by a German author, and he came to meet the developers at some point, and then they said, why don't we make a game out of your book? And here we are.
What about the storyline and the dialogue options? Will you have a lot of choices? How the storyline will progress?
Yes, you will have choices along the way. I mean, the main story is set in stone, as it's taken from the books, so we won't change the story of the books. But we have made alterations to it and extensions to it. Just as an example, you will roam around with a big group of heroes. And first in the book, there's just Tangdil, our main hero, and he starts his journey, and for a long time he's alone. In the game we changed that, so very quickly in the game he will meet his first 2 companions. There you have this group combat system already working on. It would be boring to just have one dwarf for like 2 hours or so. Then we also asked the author to write some new quests for us and to develop a new character for us. So we have one character that was not in the books and many side quests.
So if you read the book, you will still see something new in the game, right?
Yes, exactly. And if you haven't read the book, well, it's just a game that works completely on its own. Yeah, we have many players who also have never read the books, and they absolutely don't care because they just dive into the story and they totally get it. It's well explained. We have a lot of voiceovers in the game. Basically, it's completely voiced over in English. We have Polish subtitles though, and we not only have the character speaking, but we also have a narrator. So it should feel like a bit like in a book. There's also the audio books.
So the game is out in December, right?
Yes, 1st of December will be for PC, Xbox, and PlayStation 4.